In Syria, fresh clashes have erupted in Suwayda province after a ceasefire collapsed between Druze and Bedouin tribes. The Syrian Interior Minister says security forces are being redeployed to the region following local appeals amid spiraling violence. Israel, which has warned against government presence in the south, reportedly carried out a strike on Friday, targeting a Bedouin convoy in the Palmyra Homs highway just days after hitting Damascus. Bedouin fighters have launched a new offensive vowing to rescue detained tribal members. Syria's leadership has condemned Israel's strikes as violation of sovereignty, while questions mount over Tel Aviv's motives. In Syria, fresh clashes have erupted in Suwayda province after a ceasefire collapsed between Druze and Bedouin tribes. The Syrian Interior Ministry says security forces are being redeployed to the region, following local appeals amid spiraling violence. Israel, which has warned against government presence in the south, reportedly carried out a strike on Friday, targeting a Bedouin convoy on the Palmyra Homs highway, just days after hitting Damascus. Bedouin fighters have launched a new offensive, vowing to rescue detained tribal members. Syria's leadership has condemned Israel's strikes as violations of sovereignty, while questions mount over Tel Aviv's motives. Now we're joined by Ross Feingold. He's a political analyst joining us live from Taipei. Thank you, Ross, for joining us today. Good to see you. Now, given the Syrian Interior Ministry's redeployment of security forces and Israel's warnings against government's presence in the south, are we seeing the early stages of a deeper proxy confrontation in the southern Syria, according to you?
It's certainly possible. It's, of course, a very fluid situation at the moment. And a lot depends on Israel's willingness to sustain its military activity in parts of southern Syria in support of the Druze minority. So that's really something that remains to be seen. You know, from the perspective of the Syrian government, even if this week they had no choice but to redeploy their forces away from Suwayda, it's not an ideal situation. They are the new government, they are the central government, and understandably they expect to exercise their authority throughout the country. And it's not an ideal situation for the new president and his government not to be able to control parts of the country. Frankly, it's embarrassing for them.
And Ross, now, looking at Israel's recent strikes, including one on the Bedouin convoy, they appear to be signaling growing concerns about security developments within Syria. What strategic message is Israel sending in being involved in these attacks, and how could this escalation affect regional stability?
Israel wants to make it abundantly clear that whether it's in southern Lebanon and military movements by Hezbollah, or in southern Syria and military movements by the central government's army, or its new army, or Bedouin fighters, that if Israel perceives the movement of men or military equipment and weapons to be a threat to Israel's security, it's going to take action. And we've seen that from Israel in recent days, again, both in southern Lebanon and southern Syria. And it's clear at the moment that neither the Lebanese government or the Syrian government can stop Israel from doing that. So Israel wants to send a very clear message about how it's going to enforce its security concerns, and that's going to be by using its own military force, both in southern Lebanon or in southern Syria. And again, those countries are powerless to stop Israel from doing that.
Thank you very much, Ross, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we stay on this topic. Two U.S. intelligence